Welcome back everyone to part 2 of the brushes. Vicki is going to tell you a little bit more about brushes. I think you're really going to like this segment. Also too, I keep forgetting to tell you that we are on Instagram. We've been there for about a year, although I'm not on it a whole lot, but I do post videos, free videos on Instagram as well as on our blog. So if you want to check us out on our blog, it's naods.com/blog. See you next Sunday. Bye for now.
This is a border brush. I'm going to switch to my move tool here that I actually made starting with another kit element. And I wanted to show you that. Let's go ahead and open up a new document, do a regular 12 by 12. And I'm going to pull in this heart. I wanted to draw a heart, and I'll tell you what, I wanted a heart. The kit didn't have a heart. And so I wanted to fudge it, but I know I design kits, but I really can't draw very well. So I'm going to use this element as the beginnings of, as the sort of my shape that I can use to draw this element. And to draw this element, I'm going to use yet another brush. I'm going to come back to my brushes. When I go to change, I'm going to get this message saying, do I really want to change? I'm going to come to the wet media brushes. No, I don't want to save these. I already have. And I'm going to choose, I think it was the rough ink. Here it is, rough ink. And this time, I'd like you to pay attention to down here. I don't think I can move this out of the way. So just watch down here because I'm going to change the size of this brush. I think it needs to be a little bit bigger, but I'm also going to change these brush settings. And as I change some of these settings here, watch what's happening down here. I'm going to set the scatter here to say 10% and see what's happening here. The brush is sort of growing. It's no longer, it's not going to paint a straight line. It's sort of got these little nubby things here, and it's no longer it's going to scatter. Every time I'm clicking, it's going to scatter where the brush is located. And then additionally, I'm going to add this up to say 25%. And see now what's happened? It doesn't even look like the same brush anymore. So now that I've done that, what's the first thing that I'm going to do? I have modified this rough ink brush, and I might want to use this brush again. So I'm going to open up my brush picker. I'm going to choose Save Brush because I have to save the modified brush. And remember, this is a cheat because it's not really saving it. It's just creating a brush with this name. And let's call this Heart Texture. Oops, with one T. One T. So it's going to put my Heart Texture brush down here. Let's just leave it there for a while. Let's go ahead and let's use the pink. And on a new layer below the heart, this heart element, I'm going to start clicking and dragging to get this shape of this heart. And look at what this texture is. It's kind of like, I don't know, like sponge or something. I kind of liked it because it didn't look real. I'm not worried about going outside the lines because I want this sort of hand-drawn feel to this. And as I said, I'm just using this to create the shape. Now, if I hide this, there's the shape of my heart. Well, guess what? That would make kind of a nice brush. What if I selected this and said, Edit, Define Brush from Selection, and let's call this Heart 1. Okay, Control or Command D to deselect. Now I want to come back into my brushes. I want this heart texture brush again. And now I'm going to fill in, making sure I'm on this layer. Now I'm going to fill this in. I'm going to make this a little bigger so it goes a little faster. And I'm not trying to get a perfect heart here. I'm trying to get this to look sort of real. And if I was painting this, there'd be some white spaces and there'd be some darker ones. So I'm not trying to be precious or anything. I'm just filling in the heart shape. And now guess what I have? I have another brush, don't I? Let's select rectangular marquee tool, edit, define brush from selection, and now we're going to call this Heart 2. Oops, I really can't spell, ladies. Cool, Control or Command D to deselect. Now let's add, to add a little touch to this, let's add this these hearts back on it because I think that kind of makes a cool element. And now let's make this a brush. Rectangular marquee tool, edit, define brush, and we're going to call this heart 3.
That's so cool.
I lied. Okay, heart 3. Controller Command D to deselect. So now if we look in our brush picker, we have 3 hearts, the heart texture and 3 hearts. But we're not done. This would kind of make a cool heart. Let me put a new layer on here and let's switch colors and let me back out because it's really big. Let me put this here. That kind of make a cool heart all in green, doesn't it? You see the texture. Remember I told you that if the brush isn't black, the texture isn't going to be as thick and dark when you start out and you make it and it's not black. But that was okay in this case. That's what I was going for. The brush itself is still black. It got the color from my color chip here. Let's take this one step further. Let's add a new layer here. And this time, let's make the brush, we want this last brush, we want this smaller. So I'm going to make this way smaller. I'm going to make this about 100 pixels. And now I'm going to come into the brush settings and I want you to watch what's happening over here again. I'm going to change this scatter to about 20%. 20, and let's change the spacing. This kind of gets jittery, so I'm trying not to go too far past what I want. Let's make this about 57. Look what's happened here. Let's test this brush out. I'm going to click. I'm not going to stamp once. This is a painting brush, dynamic brush, not a stamp. So I'm going to click and drag. Look at that.
So cool.
That's how I made the border. So I'm going to come here. I have modified heart 3. Modified. I didn't make a new brush. I modified heart 3. So to make sure I give that a save, I'm going to click on save and I'm going to say heart scatter 1. Oops. I promise you I can spell it, I can type. Okay. Now
You're just like I am.
I tested it typing back in the day when girls had to take, I tested at 120 words a minute. I really could have been a good secretary. Okay, let me just say, so now obviously we won't do this, but I could actually make this bigger. You know, you could actually do this in a whole bunch of different sizes and create a brush in each size. The important part again is to come to the brush preset manager and save the set of brushes. Here's the texture that I filled the brush with. Here's all these hearts. Oops. Click one, hold down your shift key, save set, and then save this as hearts, which I'm sure I have here somewhere already too.
Dang, now I see why you have over 2,000
Yeah,
brushes?
2,200 brushes. So literally all I did was create a new layer. And again, because this is not, because you're not going for perfect here. My goal here was not to have a perfectly designed heart. I was just sort of, got my brain, let me just show you. Literally, oops, let me make this back here. Literally, I'm gonna make this smaller because that was the 100 brush. Maybe it was much smaller. And I'm just clicking and I'm not even lifting my mouse up because it's okay with me. It goes off if it goes off the page.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions about any of this?
Yes, Marilyn has a question. Marilyn says, as always, great ideas, but how do you sort through thousands of brushes as Vicki says she has? I can see me saving brushes like I do fonts.
I do. And